The top 5 most dangerous beaches in the world. Sun and sea, diving, surfing, snorkeling are all these things which attract people to popular beaches. But what really awaits people caught up in the water? We present to you the top 5 most dangerous beaches in the world. Number 5. The coast of South Australia is just a lagoon of sharks. Here occurred the most famous in the history of the shark attacks on humans. In 1963, Rodney Fox, during underwater fishing, became a victim of a great white shark. Why is he considered the most famous victim? Due to the severity of inflicted injuries. It was a real bloodbath. And due to the fact that he survived. Wounds on his body were just awful. Bones on his hands gaping all along the limbs. Chest, lungs, and stomach were literally torn apart. If it was not for the wetsuit, all of his internal organs would have just fallen out of his body. Obviously, it saved his life. Among many other cases of shark attacks along the coast of Australia, the most horrific is an attack on Shirley Ann. The great white shark not only killed this woman, she practically ate all of her. The shark, with its first bite, bit off both of the woman's legs. And then she continued with the head and the hands. All that remains of this mother of 4 is her head and part of her body. Number 4. The coast of California. The first recorded victim of a shark attack in the history of California was 17-year-old teenager Barry Wilson. Despite that, he managed to be snatched from the jaws of a predator. He died on the way to the shore from received wounds. Lower back and buttocks were just off. Robert Pamperin is notorious in that he was completely eaten by a great white shark. His fellow diving partners could see him waist deep in the jaws of a giant shark. After, rescuers spent 2 hours in a search for the victim, but all that they could find was his scuba gear. In 2004, Randall Fry was attacked by a shark while scuba diving off the coast of California. His torn body was found the next day. The bite marks stretched from shoulder to shoulder. His head was severed from his body. Number 3. The waters of the Atlantic. The wreck of the passenger liner Principessa Mafalda. The ship sank, having received a hole just off the coast of Rio de Janeiro. Passengers in blue fear jumped into the water by swimming to reach the courts, hurrying to their aid. However, people did not reach them and suddenly disappeared in the waves, leaving dark spots on the surface. As it turned out, began the so-called alimentary fever of sharks. Sharp-toothed man-eater sharks, excited by the scent of blood, jumped out of the water, rushed to the boats, had a bite of the paddle, and ate people, teeming in the sea. Neither the shooting nor the blinding light of searchlights, nothing else could scare them away. Even among the rescued from the water, many later died from wounds received from the predators. Number 2. River Matawan Creek, USA. The man-eater shark moved into the River Matawan Creek after a series of attacks in the ocean. A shark, swimming in the shallow waters of the river, was repeatedly seen, but no one wanted to believe it. As long as the 12-year-old boy had not fallen her first victim. Local men immediately rushed to find the shark in shallow water, but she found them first. One of them, in a battle with the monster, became her second victim. The next day, another boy was bitten by a shark in the leg. When 2 days later, the man-eater shark was caught, inside her it was found about 15 pounds of human flesh and bones. Number 1. The Philippine Sea, the crash of a military cruiser, Indianapolis. The cruiser of Naval Forces of the USA was sunk by a Japanese torpedo in 1945 near the island of Guam. About 900 of the surviving sailors of the team were in the water in life jackets. The next morning, sensing prey at the crash place, a huge number of man-eater sharks came. The crew was absolutely helpless against the hungry, distraught with the amount of food in the water, predators. 4 days the people drifted at sea were eaten by them. It was possible to hear the sudden cries from different directions during the 4 days. These were sharks got to new victims and ate them. The remains of human bodies were everywhere, severed arms and legs, Life jackets all also remained above the water, but there were not alive people inside of them. Among all crew members, survived only 316. It is the largest maritime accident in the history of naval forces of the USA, and it killed the largest number of people from man-eating sharks. In sea and river, deep and shallow water, these predators everywhere can feel the smell of the victim and swim after its prey, whether it is animal or human. If you liked this video, put likes and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.